Hello and a big welcome to the channel. I'm the Motorsport Madman and this is the 2023 season finale Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. If you are new to the channel, if you are a Formula 1 fan, then get yourself subscribed. I have been live for every single Grand Prix from the Formula 1 World Championship and will be next season as well. But yeah, thank you for joining me. If you are watching it on repeat as well, do drop me a like if you are watching it during the week. But yeah, here we go. Final round 23 of 23 is here. It's been a long season. It's been the most dominant season in F1 history. From obviously Max Verstappen, who I think has won 19. There was one race cancelled and he's lost another 3. So what would that make it? 18 wins, something like that. Absolutely ridiculous. But this is the final flourish of the season. But yeah, welcome in Chrissy. I don't know if you're in now. You was in before. But I am going to keep tabs. The one thing that there is to fight for, well, there's a few things to fight for, but there's a couple of subplots basically in this race. And one of them is that the gap between second and third in Constructors' Championship is only 4 points. There's only 4 points between Mercedes and Ferrari. So be keeping track of that throughout the race, because that's obviously worth tens of millions of pounds, and it's probably the biggest plot we've got. Also, the Drivers' Championship, I think Alonso and Sainz are on the same amount of points. I'm not so bothered about the Drivers' Championship. P3, P4, P5, P6. I'm not so bothered about that. But I will be keeping an eye on the Constructors' Championship. It's also close down the bottom as well. I think Williams on 28. I'm gonna have a look at it now. Actually, I'm gonna have a look at it now because I want to keep tabs of it. Because I know the bottom 4 teams, I think, is separated by a handful of points. You know, Maria Sharapova. I wouldn't even recognise her. Right. Yeah, I'm gonna get the Constructors' Championship up here. Yeah, so Mercedes in second. This is what it's all about today. Mercedes in second on 392. Ferrari in third are on 388. So I'll be keeping tabs of that. We've got Leclerc on the front row. It's basically Leclerc versus Russell to get their team second in the championship, because we've got Hamilton 11th, Sainz 16th. Hamilton might get a couple of points, and that might get Mercedes. It might be down to whether Carlos Sainz can get in the points, really. And depending, it's virtually Leclerc versus Russell to get their team second in the championship, really. We see maybe Hamilton snagging like a P8 or something like that, maybe swings it. So I'll be keeping track of that. Only 4 points between. It's Mercedes' advantage at the moment on 392, Ferrari on 388. I think Aston Martin are 11 behind McLaren. Yeah, so Aston Martin in 5th are on 273. See, I don't usually talk about the numbers like this, but because it's the last race, this is where it's decided, isn't it? This is it. There's no more, we can swing it back in our favour next week. This is it, lad. This is where the buck stops. So we've got Aston Martin on 273 and McLaren 284. So McLaren 11 points ahead, but they're starting 3rd and 5th. So with Stroll down in 13th. So McLaren have pretty much got 4th place secured. How McLaren have beaten Aston Martin this season is a madness. Imagine saying that after round 1, when Alonso's fighting for the win and Norris and Piastri are like 19th and 20th. Imagine saying, with Alonso getting P2 at the first race and Norris doing 6 pit stops and finishing last, going, I'll tell you something now, McLaren are going to beat Aston Martin this season. You'd be sent to the mental home and they'd lock the door and throw away the key. It's crazy. And McLaren's turnaround in form. Yes, Anto, welcome to the stream, mate. Ryan Tune, welcome in as well, bro. We're about 15 minutes away from the start of the final race of 2023, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. I'm just checking what's interesting, what's going to be interesting about this, because it all comes down to this with some of the point scenarios. So, yeah, you see, down the back is really interesting as well, because we've got Williams in P7, right, in constructors. This is for tens of millions of pounds. This is not just, he's talking about it because there's nothing else to talk about. No, this is massively important for these teams. So Williams are on 28 points in 7th, right? It's so close. One decent race can swing this massively. Then you've got AlphaTauri in 8th. So Williams are on 28 points. AlphaTauri's on 21. So you need 7 points. Tsunoda's starting P6. Mate, Tsunoda can get AlphaTauri 7th place in the championship. They were last a few races ago, AlphaTauri. They were P10 about 4 races ago. And now they could get P7 if Tsunoda secures 7 points. You know what I mean? Because Albon's P14. Is he going to get a point from there? Maybe, but probably not. Sargent, bottom of the, Sargent's P20. So he ain't getting any points today, is he? If he does, then what a hero. But he ain't getting any points today. So Tsunoda can really... where's Ricardo, actually? So Ricardo's 15th. It's a long shot as well. But Tsunoda can really pull out a madness for his team. Then we've got Alfa Romeo 9th, right? Alfa Romeo 9th on 16 points. So they're only 5 behind AlphaTauri. So if Tsunoda were to drop out of the points, but then the thing is, Alfa Romeo are in a bad spot. They're 18th and 19th on the grid. Alfa Romeo are not getting any more points, which may mean that they come under pressure. You see, there's a lot to talk about, which may mean they come under a lot of pressure from Haas, who are currently bottom at the moment on 12 points, only 4 behind Alfa Romeo. And you've got Nico Hülkenberg starting P8. So for me, this race is about Leclerc versus Russell whoever wins that battle wins their team second in Constructors' Championship, basically. Depending what Hamilton and Sainz do, but they might just scrape a couple of points. Really, Leclerc versus Russell to get their team P2 in a championship. And then we've got this other interesting thing where I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Yuki Tsunoda. Can he get a bag full of points? Because that massively changes their fate. And Nico Hulkenberg in the Haas, starting P8 on the grid. If he gets 4 points in that Haas, which you get 4 points for P8. So if he finishes where he starts, they're off the bottom of the table, and Alfa Romeo will take a massive L, and it is their final race as well. Alfa Romeo are pulling out of the sport. The team will remain, but it will no longer be called Alfa Romeo. They're going back to being called Sauber for a couple of years before then Audi comes in 2026, and it'll be whatever Sauber Audi or Audi Group or whatever they're going to be from 26 onwards. So it's going back to Sauber for a couple of years. Kevin De Bruyne's on the grid. But yeah, so that's the subplot. So Verstappen might have won the championship by 300 points, but we knew that in May, didn't we? We knew that in May. So these are the things: Mercedes 392, Ferrari 388, Williams 28 points, AlphaTauri 21 points, Alfa Romeo 16 points, Haas 12 points. Also, McLaren being 11 ahead of Aston Martin. It's mathematically possible Aston Martin can beat them, but very unlikely, especially considering Piastri and Norris are both in the top 5. But yeah, they're the interesting things. Leclerc, Russell, Tsunoda P6 can pull a madness, and Nico Hulkenberg P8. So we're 10 minutes away. Please do drop me a like, guys, if you are in the stream or watching it after the season's over. But yeah, long season. I've enjoyed it to a point, but I can't lie. I will be absolutely thrilled in March when everyone's on 0 points and we go again. But yeah, welcome to the stream, Ernesto. You've made it. I don't know how you've made it. I've just about made it. I don't know how you've made it. Denver's definitely not made it at like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning this morning. Denver was promising me he was coming on the channel. I said, you ain't gonna stay up until 1 p.m. UK time. He's like, of course I am. Is he here? Are you here, Denver? If you're in the chat, Denver, if you're watching, get in chat. He's not here, lad. He's over. It's you can't. It would have been a mess anyway, because we all would have just been drunk. So I had to get some sleep in. I got a few hours sleep in, and we're here. So for the final time in 2023, it's going to be me saying Verstappen, and then we're done for 4 months, and then see what happens. In fact, we're not completely done, because there will be, this coming week, actually, 4 bits of content. Yeah. There'll be 4 bits of content this coming week. There will be, I am doing a video, and it's going to be a comedy, mate. I am doing a video of a clip, of basically going to clip together the entire season, the start of every race and the end of every race. And listen, it is a comedy. It is going to be me giving it full thing. Hey, look, Leclerc versus Verstappen, turn 1, and then cut to me at the end of the race. Verstappen wins again. Verstappen wins again. Verstappen wins again. It's just, yeah, you can't write it, honestly. So we're doing that. I'll be doing a season review as well, which I did at the end of last season, where I go through and watch the highlights of every race, mark it out of 10, just as a bit of conclusion to the season. So I do like a full season review. That's like a 4-hour stream, that beast. But I did it last year. Might as well do it this year, whether it's 1 view or 10 views, whatever. But yeah, I'll do a season review this coming week. And then another one I'll do is reacting to my pre-season predictions. Before the season started, before pre-season started, I did a stream predicting what's going to happen this season, main talking points, all the rest of it. I've seen a little bit of it back, and Put it this way, I'm way out. I'm well out. I was thoroughly deluded. But the thing is, I didn't want to make it boring. My predictions were out there for a reason, to make it a little bit more interesting. But yeah, the predictions are criminal. Absolutely. Some of them, I watched a bit of it back the other day. I was like, what the fuck was I on when I did that video? But yeah, so I'll be going back and having a look at what I said would happen this season compared to what did happen this season. It's quite a bit of a difference. And then I'll do another video as well another stream where I'll rank the drivers from worst to best this season. Not on the Drivers' Championship, but how I think they performed relative to each other without the car's performance taken into account. So Verstappen's still going to be top of that one because despite him having the best car, he has been the most complete driver this season without a doubt. But you know, there's other people that might have had a better season than what the points tally would suggest, you know. So I'll rank the drivers as I did at the end of last season, from worst to best. I don't think Lance Stroll's going to be in the top 5. But yeah, no more spoilers on that one. It's going to probably be bookended by Stroll and Verstappen, isn't it? It's probably going to be bookended by Stroll and Verstappen on the driver rankings. But yeah, I'll do season review, driver rankings, react to my pre-season predictions, and then a little video at the start and end of it. So we'll keep the channel ticking for a couple of weeks, and then we go into hibernation mode really, as it won't be a lot to talk about over Christmas, beginning of Jan. There's not really going to be any point in me coming on going, you know, F1 News Weekly, Alexander Albon signs contract extension, you know. So that'll probably be it until pre-season testing. So we'll have a few little videos coming out in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll probably go cold and dark till about Feb, and then it kicks back in, and I will be kicking in seriously, because after this season, next one, the sport's got to bounce back from this, in my opinion. The sport has to bounce back from this kind of a season. It's great if you're Verstappen and Verstappen's family and fans and you know, but for everybody else, we've had to sort of struggle through it, haven't we? But yeah. But yeah, welcome to the stream. Listen, please do drop me a like. The race is starting in about 5 minutes' time. But yeah, that's what's coming up in the next couple of weeks, just to round off the season basically and put a conclusion to it all. Some of the races are going to be like, because I've ranked every race out of 10. You know, I watch the highlights and give every race. You know, it's like watching it back a little bit and giving a little bit of a review on it. And I remember last season, a lot of the races were like 7, 8 out of 10. You know, there was some good races when Leclerc was really in the championship battle. You know, last season. This year, there's going to be some races where I'm just like, you're kidding me. Like, this was a 2 out of 10. But there's the odd good one. Do you know what I mean? There was the odd good one. There's been a handful of good races this season. Vegas was good. The one before that as well in Brazil was good. They both had great finales as well. The last 2 races have both had really exciting finishes where it's come down to the last lap, not for the win, unfortunately, but it's come down to the last lap for like podium positions in the end of the last 2 races. So hopefully we can get a bit of excitement today to round off the season. And then we look forward to a 6-man championship battle next season, you know, with Norris in the fight. We want to see Hamilton back in a winning car. You know what I mean? We want to see Verstappen have some serious competition next year. Hopefully George Russell can come back strong. Hopefully Ferrari can bounce back a little bit. I don't understand how and why Ferrari have dropped off as much as they have this season after such a strong season last year, which they fucked up with strategies and reliabilities. I thought they'd really be on it this season. They've let me down. So hopefully Ferrari can bounce back next season. Aston Martin are obviously on an upward trajectory, even though they've dropped off a little bit the second half of this season. Aston Martin are looking really good for the future. So, there's a lot of positives to think about next year. But this will go down in history as the Verstappen season. I said it last week. This season will never be beaten on stats. Most wins, whatever you want. Any stat like that. But anyway, this is the grid then. So it's going to be Logan Sargent for P20. It's Zhou Guanyu from P19. Valtteri Bottas P18. They're not looking good, are they? 19th and 18th. Alfa Romeo have had a season to forget. But yeah, Kevin Magnussen will start P17. Carlos Sainz P16. Needs to get some points today. P15 for Daniel Ricciardo in the AlphaTauri. It's Alexander Albon P13. P14, Lance Stroll P13, Esteban Ocon P12, Lewis Hamilton P11. Then we get into the top 10. Pierre Gasly P10, Sergio Perez will line up P9. He's had a horrible season, really, Perez. Just enough to keep his seat, I think. Nico Hulkenberg P8, Fernando Alonso P7. It's Yuki Tsunoda P6. I hope I'll be keeping a close eye on him, see if he can get his team up a place in the constructors. We've got Lando Norris P5, George Russell P4, Oscar Piastri, the young rookie superstar, P3, and a front row, which we've had a lot this season, of Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen will lead us away. Usually, Leclerc is really strong on the Saturdays, and we've had this front row a lot, but the other way around, where it's Leclerc leading Verstappen away. But today, it is Verstappen who will lead us away, and hopefully we get the dive bomb down the inside from Charles Leclerc with, no holds barred and fully going for it into turn one and make a race out of it. But yeah, that is the grid for the 2023 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. If you are just joining the stream, the race is about to get underway in a couple of minutes' time. So please do drop me a like on the stream. Hopefully we can start to grow the channel a little bit next season. We've sort of plodded our way through this one. It was never going to be a season where the channel was going to take off big time when you've got the same man winning 19 out of 22 races, was it? But, hopefully next year, it'd help me out if there was a championship battle next year. Do you know what I mean? I'm not having back-to-back seasons like this. But I might have to. But yes, Sean, welcome in, mate. Hi, everyone. Do you know who for the win? I ain't got a clue, mate. I'll go Sargent. Sargent for the win. Right, but no, on a serious note, like I said at the beginning of the stream, it's Mercedes on 392, Ferrari on 388, 4 points between them. We're going to be seriously looking at Leclerc versus Russell for P2 in the Constructors' Championship. We're also going to be looking... I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself for people that have been here since the beginning, but there might be just people joining the stream now. We're also going to be looking closely at Williams on 28 points, AlphaTauri on 21, Alfa Romeo on 16, and Haas on 12 points. The 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th is very close in Constructors' Championship. One good result today can really swing things. I'm looking at Yuki Tsunoda, who's starting the race P6. If he finishes top 6, it could get his team up ahead of Williams in the Constructors' Championship, which is worth tens of millions of pounds. We've also got Alfa Romeo, who could be beaten by Haas. If Nico Hulkenberg finishes the race where he starts in P8, Haas will go up to P9 and off the bottom of the table. So they're the sort of the subplots of which I will be keeping a close eye on. But yes, Ernesto, yes, Farhan, welcome to the stream, bro. Good to see you in the last 3 years. Happy to see everyone. Yeah, man, I've not been on one of them streams for it must be like 2 months. So yeah, it was good to see you, man. Good to see you. Just about scrape myself into this chair for this race. Oh my god, Ernesto, can you ban that? What the hell is that? sling him out of here, Anto or Ernesto. Or sling it out of here. It's just a bot, innit? Right. Oh, for the final time in 2023 then. It has been a long season, this. You know, it has been a long season, this, so let's get it wrapped up. Let's get it wrapped up in style as well. Let's get it wrapped up in style. I want to see the Charles Leclerc dive bomb into turn 1, mate. I want to see Oscar Piastri get a lightning start from P3 on the clean side of the grid and have a look into turn 1. I want to see Yuki Tsunoda score a bag full of points for AlphaTauri, even though I'm wearing a Williams top. Nah, I just want excitement. And if that means Yuki Tsunoda pulling a madness, I'm all for it. So, it's Charles Leclerc on the right as we look at it. Verstappen on the left on the racing line. So, it's going to have to be a brave one from Leclerc if he wants to get the lead of this race. Cheers for getting rid of that. Right, here we go. Sargent lines up on the grid. And it is a 2023 season finale for one more time in 2023. Lights out and away we go. So it's Leclerc on the left. Leclerc looks like he's got a good start. You know, he's side by side with Verstappen. Verstappen's going to swing it in and just about gain the lead. We've got McLaren side by side with George Russell. I think Piastri's still up to third. We've got a Red Bull and Mercedes going side by side. There is Perez versus Hamilton at the back. But it is Verstappen that leads them away then down to the hairpin for the very first time. But Leclerc is right behind him. Leclerc... They went side by side to turn 1, but Leclerc just backed out of it and Verstappen swooped in. But now we've got a long straight and there's going to be a big slipstream effect there. And Leclerc's going for it. And he's gone down the inside of Verstappen. Not a lot Verstappen can do. They go wheel to wheel into the first chicane. Look at this. Oscar Piastri's going to be lining up Leclerc as well then. So Verstappen holds on. And here comes the McLaren of... Oscar Piastri, but Leclerc's trying again round the outside. They come down to the middle sector. And Verstappen yet again with the defence holds on. Oh, Leclerc is looking quick, but fantastic defence, you have to say, from triple world champion Max Verstappen. Holds on to the position. 3 times he was attacked on lap 1 and 3 times Verstappen said no. Verstappen leads them to the end of lap 1 then after 3 big defences against Charles Leclerc. It's then Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris and George Russell. Tsunoda still 6th. Then it's Alonso, Gasly, Hamilton and Perez round out the top 10 at the moment. We're on lap 2 of 58 in Abu Dhabi. Verstappen he's sorted it out, mate. He's weathered that big storm there, Verstappen. He's weathered a big storm there. But then McLarens are looking quick, in a straight line. Norris is lining up Piastri, for third. Is Norris going for it? He has a look. Norris has a look on his teammate, but I tell you what, then McLarens are looking quick in a straight line. And with these 2 long straights in Abu Dhabi, we've got long straight chicane, another long straight down to the what is now a sort of long left-hander. It used to be like a triple chicane, that, at the end of the second straight. But look at this then, Piastri on the back of Leclerc as Verstappen starts to gap the field already. Gasly, has he? Yeah, Gasly's up to 8th. Yeah, so Gasly's taken Hamilton and Perez. I tell you what, McLaren is securing 4th in Constructors' Championship here. They've had such a... Basically, it's worked out that McLaren have had a better second half of the season than Aston Martin had first half of the season. Do you get what I mean? Aston Martin was strong at the first half. McLaren strong second half, but McLaren's second half has been stronger than Aston Martin's first half. Do you get what I mean? That's what's happened. McLaren, I said it at the British Grand Prix. I think it was the British Grand Prix or Austria. And I said at the time, I have never seen an upgrade as powerful as that. They literally gained a second at mid-season. They stuck an upgrade on it and gained a second. Unbelievable. As Perez goes down the inside of Lewis Hamilton for P9. Hamilton could do with getting some points here with Leclerc up in second. Russell down to fifth. You know, Hamilton could really do with getting in the points here today if Mercedes had to hold on. You know, it becomes down to whether Carlos Sainz can get any points out of this. If Carlos Sainz gets any points out of this, you know what I mean? That could swing it in Ferrari's favour. Look at this. A replay of the start then as Norris and Russell go side by side into turn 3 and 4. Verstappen holds on. He had to descend 3 times. Yeah, no worries, Chrissy. I'll see you later. Cheers for joining my streams this season, Chrissy. And I'll probably see you in March. But yeah, thanks for joining. And look at this defence. I tell you what, Leclerc was down the inside there, coming up to the first chicane. And Verstappen just played it like a peach round the outside. And he had to trust that Leclerc wasn't going to run wide as well. It was very good racing from the pair of them, to be honest with you. You know, great defence from Verstappen. Leclerc didn't bite off more than he can chew, because you usually see people go down the inside, dive, and you know what I mean? They're a day late and $1 short, and they sort of just run a bit wide, lose the back end a bit, and end up making contact with the car on the outside. But fair play to Leclerc. He kept it all under control, and Verstappen trusted him. And they both got away with it, and Verstappen defended the lead 3 times in the opening lap. But here we go for a replay on board with Lando Norris at the start then. And yeah, so George Russell, did Russell start 3rd? Because Russell's lost out to both McLarens. Oh, no. No, Russell was 4th, so he's just lost out to Norris. Yeah, because it was Verstappen. At the beginning, it was Verstappen, Leclerc, Piastri, Norris. Yeah, so Norris has lost 1 position. Russell has lost one position to Norris. But he is on the back of... So Norris has been let through with Piastri. So McLaren have swapped the positions of the McLarens. Norris has been let through on Oscar Piastri. So it's now Verstappen who leads Leclerc by 1.5 seconds. It's then the 2 McLarens in the order of Norris, then Piastri, Russell, and Tsunoda still up in P6. How many points you get for 6th? 25, 18, 15, 12, 10, 8. You get 8 points for 6th. That'll get AlphaTauri. If Williams don't score any points, and Tsunoda gets P6, AlphaTauri will get 7th in Constructors. There'll be a point ahead of Williams if it stays like this. Because Albon's 18th. I don't know if he's done it. I don't know what's happened to Alexander Albon at the start, but he's down to 18th. So we've got Williams ain't getting any points today. They're 18th and 20th. They're under threat. Come on, Sainz. Do you know what I mean? It might be down to Sainz to get Ferrari. Leclerc's on for 18 points at the moment. Russell's on for what, 10? Leclerc is winning. Leclerc is getting Ferrari 2nd in Constructors' Championship right now in P2. Because Leclerc will get 18 points for 2nd, maybe 19 if he's fastest lap. At the moment, Russell in P5 gets 10 points, isn't it? 25, 18, 15, 12, 10. Yeah, as Kevin Magnussen pits for Haas, who only are 4 points behind Alfa Romeo for 9th. Haas are bottom at the moment, but could do with could really do with 4 points today. That have really changed their season. So basically at the moment, Leclerc's getting 8 more points than Russell, and that swings it. Hamilton getting a point doesn't change anything. Ferrari will get second in Constructors' Championship as it stands, but there's still 52 laps to go, so you know what I mean. I am counting my chickens, but I am going to keep an eye on that throughout the race. Yeah, every car, Martin Brundles was saying, like, every car is within a second of each other, pretty much, all the way down to Sainz, who's actually 1.8 behind Stroll. But everybody's within a second, really, apart from Verstappen out front. So Verstappen leads Leclerc by 1.5. Norris is 8/10 behind Leclerc. I tell you what, Mercedes need... Mercedes could do with both McLarens getting Leclerc. This is going to be really down to the wire, this Constructors' Championship battle. And here comes George Russell then. George Russell might take matters into his own hands and has a look on Oscar Piastri. They're all on the medium tyres as well, down to P12. Stroll and Sainz in 12th and 13th on the hards. Also, Bottas in 16th. Magnussen's just pitted and gone into the hards as well. But basically, top 11 on the medium tyre. As Russell tries it round the outside of Piastri, they're going to be wheel to wheel coming out of the corner. And Piastri just about holds on for now. But Piastri seems to be struggling a little bit. We're on lap 7. And Russell is attacking Piastri for P4. And he needs to catch Leclerc, does Russell, to get Mercedes, to secure Mercedes that second in the championship. Possible tear off in one of the front ducts of Ricciardo's car. Oh. So Daniel Ricciardo might be in trouble. He's down in 15th at the moment, and if there is a tear off in the side part of the car, the temperatures will go through the roof. And so Ricciardo's in the pits, and they're going to remove the tear off. They've still got the Vegas special livery on that AlphaTauri. It mustn't have been a Vegas special then, wasn't it? End of season special from AlphaTauri. I do like that livery. But yeah, Daniel Ricciardo's pitted. He's on the hard tyres, and he's P19. Look at how close Russell is behind Piastri. Russell's got to get it done soon, surely. Come on, George. If you want to get your team P2 in Constructors, you need to pass these McLarens. Think the drivers throw tear-offs at each other? I'd hope not. You never know, innit? It's like a Dick Dastardly move, that, innit? It's like Wacky Racers kind of move, that, innit? Tear-off. like something out of a Mario Kart, innit? Chuck a banana skin at the car behind. I'd like to think that they don't purposely do that, but maybe it has happened. Come on, Russell needs to get the job done here. He's only half a second behind Piastri now. Surely DRS and slipstream and 2 long straights, he can get close now here. Gasly's still 8th. Alpine are in no man's land in the Constructors' Championship. They're nailed on for 6th. I think it's mathematically impossible that their position can change. I think they're the only team where it's mathematically impossible. And Red Bull at the front. You know, Alpine are definitely P6 in this championship. I think Aston Martin finishing P5 in Constructors is slightly... It's disappointing for them after such a strong start of the season. Oh, and look at this then. Russell on Piastri again. They go side by side. But Piastri forces Russell to the outside. And Piastri keeps the position for now. fair play to Piastri with his defensive driving. Well, yeah, what I was saying is Aston Martin finishing P5 in Constructors. What were they last season? P6. So it realistically, when all's said and done, Aston Martin have actually gone from P6 to P5 in Constructors. And yet the results have been absolute polar opposites. The results, the highlights of last season compared to highlights of this season, and it's only gained in one position in Constructors. It's brutal. That's a brutal reality. Is they've only gained one place. And they've had all these podiums, all these fantastic results, and in the end, at the end of the day, they've gained one place. Such is the competition in the midfield in Formula One. Such is the fierce, brutal competition. You can get a bag full of podiums and not even be in the top 4 in the team's championship, mate. That's brutal, that. Aston Martin would have been thinking they can get 2nd or 3rd in the championship. First half of this season, they're probably thinking, we can get top 3 in the championship here. 5th. That's brutal. And McLaren have had the polar opposite. Have had the exact opposite season of Aston Martin. Except the thing, the reason McLaren have beaten Aston Martin is basically McLaren have got 2 great drivers. Aston Martin only got 1. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out if you've got 2 great drivers that are pushing each other versus 1 driver. Alonso's done everything he can this year with that car. And he's just not been backed up. Stroll's just not backed him up. Piastri's still holding on to P4 here from George Russell. I don't know how. Would have been even lower if Alonso wasn't doing Alonso things. Exactly. Yeah, can you imagine if you had 2 Lance Strolls in that car? You'd be dead meat. Well, look at this then, right? So it's Russell versus Piastri again. Right, he's got to get it done this time. You can't be messing about anymore. Come on, George. Do you want this P2 in championship or not? And now he gets it done. George Russell, finally, after a few attempts, Russell takes Piastri for P4, and now he has to charge down Lando Norris. Oh, I tell you what, this is really going to be close between... If theoretically, if Leclerc finishes 2nd and Russell finishes 3rd, there'd be a point in it then. And then you'd be looking at... I tell you what, it could come down to Lewis Hamilton with a point in P10 securing them 2nd in the championship. Literally, it's going to be that close. It's about whether Sainz can get any points here, really. But look at this then. Yuki Tsunoda is now closing up on the back of Piastri. And I tell you what, Tsunoda can get his team 7th in the championship today with this kind of a drive. As Perez now attacking Pierre Gasly for P8. Here comes Sergio Perez. He's got the slipstream. He's got the DRS. We're on lap 12 of 58. And Perez goes wheel to wheel with Gasly and swoops round the inside before they get to the braking zone. And Perez up to 8th. So it's Verstappen who leads Leclerc only by 1.3 seconds. So Verstappen hasn't absolutely disappeared into the sunset. Leclerc's keeping him honest. 1.4 is the gap. It's then a 2.8 second gap to Norris. Russell closing in 2 seconds is the gap between Norris and Russell. Then we've got Piastri and Tsunoda within 0.6 of Piastri's McLaren. Surely Surely they have to pit as Alonso pits for Aston Martin. Please do drop me a like on the stream, guys. I know I never mention it once the race starts. I never mention it, and that's why, I only get about 5 likes a stream. But please do drop me a like, guys. It helps YouTube notice the channel. And hopefully we can start popping next season, mate. Hopefully next season we can start making some moves. Oh my God. No, I don't need you here. F1's live here, mate. And it's free, mate. I'll 1v1 you. Smash you for commentary, mate. Yeah, but someone sling him out. Ernesto Anto. Piastri's struggling here. Yeah, and Piastri pits. He had to. He's getting hunted down then from Yuki Tsunoda. So Tsunoda's P5 on the road at the moment. This could really have dire consequences for Williams. Williams are going to be looking at Yuki Tsunoda and thinking, don't you dare, lad. Don't you dare. Because there's only AlphaTauri are only 7 points behind Williams. And Tsunoda could score 8 points here. Savage. I think AlphaTauri are going to be called Racing Bulls next season, which, oh God, it sounds like a primary school's competitions named it. Racing Bulls. Bit corny, innit? But yeah, I think AlphaTauri are being called Racing Bulls next season. And Alfa Romeo are going to go back to being Sauber. Alfa Romeo are pulling out for now. I don't know if they're going to be back in the sport. But Piastri under pressure from Alonso then. They've both stopped. So this is for position. Oh, Alonso's trying it around the outside there. That's going to be a tough one. Piastri keeps a position. They're battling for 15th at the moment, but half the cars in front of them haven't stopped yet. So it's really a fight for like 6th in reality. Oh, it's a slow stop for Lando Norris. Oh no, the rear left was slow going on, and George Russell gets the jump. A gift for George Russell, and that swings the Constructors' Championship in Mercedes' favour now. Well, second in Constructors. We know Red Bull won it in Suzuka about 6 races ago, but look at Tsunoda P3 on the road. Williams will be absolutely... Williams will be shitting himself seeing Tsunoda up to 3rd. Like, you have got to be kidding me. You are costing me £20 million. It might even be more than that. Hamilton in an Alpine sandwich at the moment. Challenging Pierre Gasly. But they haven't stopped yet. Hamilton team radio. Oh, he's got damage on his front wing. What's he doing, bruv? Has he, So has Hamilton... Oh, yeah, he's got an end plate dangling off. Let's have a look what's happened here with Lewis. Oh, he's not dive bomb from there. Don't do it, Lewis. Oh, I see. So the Alpine locked up and he just taps him. He just gives him a little nudge. Oh, so he's battling Pierre Gasly. Gasly locks up into the first chicane, and Lewis just tags him ever so slightly at the rear and has broken his end fence on the front wing as Lewis Hamilton and pitted. As Hamilton, I don't think they've changed the front wing. So Hamilton's pitted, but I don't think they've changed the front wing on that Mercedes. They haven't. They could either have taken the punishment of like 6-8 seconds changing the front wing, or just say to Lewis, listen, drive with the damage. And they've chosen to drive with the damage. Cut to George Russell versus Alexander Albon for P9. Obviously, we've got half the drivers have pitted, half of them haven't, so the positions don't really make sense at the moment. But Russell down the inside and gets the position on Albon, who, well, Williams are having a strong weekend, and it made even worse by Yuki Tsunoda having a race of his life. Verstappen pits then from the lead. Nice clean stop. Obviously. Oh, look at Ocon all over Lewis Hamilton. I tell you what, maybe Mercedes would have been better taking the hit, and maybe Mercedes in the long run would have been better changing that front wing, losing 6 seconds, 8 seconds in the pit stop, but then having a car that is, a car that's at full pace rather than a car that's going around with a little bit of damage. Are they going to lose more than 6-8 seconds over the next 35 laps? Probably, So I don't know, maybe Mercedes should have taken the L there. Swallowed the pill, and taken the time penalty of changing the front wing, because now Lewis has got 2/3 of the race with damage. But, we're seeing a replay of Lando Norris losing out in the pit stop. Long pit stop for the McLaren boys, and Russell gets the jump. It's Leclerc from Tsunoda from Perez, Stroll, Gasly, Sainz, top 6. There's a few pit stops yet to happen. But, Ocon and Hamilton still battling away. Yeah, this tells me that Lewis has lost pace. As Leclerc pits then from the lead. And Verstappen will then regain the lead soon. Well, Tsunoda's staying out, mate. Tsunoda's going to lead a lap. Good, Yuki! I take that as a top 2 right now. Tsunoda and Stroll. Who had that as top 2 for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix? Tsunoda wins the race from Lance Stroll. And Sainz from 13th on the grid finishes 3rd. I'll have that right now. I'll take it. Only the second time a Japanese driver's ever led a Grand Prix. Wow, Yuki Tsunoda leading a lap here is actually groundbreaking. Did Kobayashi never lead a lap then? Kamui Kobayashi never led. I loved Kobayashi, mate. When Kobayashi was on the grid, he was one of my favourite, if not my favourite driver, actually. I love Kobayashi, man. He should have had a longer career in F1, a much longer career in F1 than he had. He was unlucky with, joining Caterham and stuff, getting dropped by Sauber. Nah, man. Kamui Kobayashi was a driver, and he's proved it. I think he's won Le Mans about 3 times. Kobayashi should have had a 10-15 year career in F1. The fact he only had about 3 seasons is a massive injustice, in my opinion. But Kobayashi, point is, Kobayashi never led a lap of a Grand Prix. Yuki Tsunoda has. Imagine if Red Bull just go, do you know what? Let's bang Yuki in next to Max next season. Let's have a look. No, they weren't. They daren't do it, man. Sainz hasn't pitted, so it's candy from a baby as Verstappen on the fresh tyres comes through and takes P3. So Tsunoda still out there with Stroll. It hasn't been bad. No, Tsunoda's had a solid season. Yeah. Yeah, Sonoda's had a good season, you know. I think I said at the beginning of the year, like, it's a big season for Sonoda, big season for Zhou. Zhou's not really done much, has he? But Alfa Romeo have been the worst, really. You know. So it's difficult to show some magic when you're in the worst car, isn't it? But Zhou's not done a lot, but Sonoda has, man. Sonoda's had a good season, definite. Tsunoda carry continues on to lead another lap of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Stroll stayed out there as well. So Stroll, I guess then Stroll started on the hards. But Tsunoda taking the mediums longer than anybody else. A fair play, man. Kamui Kamikaze, he was good, Kamui, man. He was good, man. He got a podium at his home race in Japan, Kobayashi. That's one of the moments of F1 history, that. Nah, he was a good driver. I used to love it. Any driver that like goes for just balls to the wall, goes for it. I'm there for it. You know what I mean? You don't want to be anonymous in this game. You don't want to be anonymous in F1. You know, maybe you finish every race, you keep your car clean, you never get involved in any incidents, but you're finishing P16 every week. Boring. You might as well go for it, have a few incidents, but have a few top 10s. You know what I mean? You might as well just fucking have it every week. I'd like to think that's how I would be. A bit like Maldonado. Yeah, he crashed every week, but do you know what he did? He won a race. Pastor Maldonado was not anonymous in this game. He won a Grand Prix. He might have spun and crashed and had a stupid amount of incidents. But you know what? He won a race. I'd rather that than be like, I don't know, a journeyman. Like a Latifi or a Giovinazzi who finished every race, but speaking of anonymous, P16 Hulkenberg can't say a nice thing of his whole season. Now, Hulkenberg's been better than Magnussen, though. I think Hulkenberg's had a pretty solid season, really. You know, because he's come back. He's exceeded my expectations, because I was fuming when they dropped Mick Schumacher. I thought, what are you doing? Bringing back 35, 36-year-old Nico Hulkenberg. But Hulkenberg's done well. He's beaten Kevin Magnussen. It has sort of put question mark on Kevin Magnussen's head for me, really. That Hulkenberg can just come back after like 2-3 years out of the sport and beat him. But he is a bit anonymous, though. I do take that point. He is a bit anonymous, Nico Hulkenberg. Like, not very often in a season you're going, Hulkenberg, what a move! Like, nah. The same with Bottas. Like, Bottas is anonymous. So's Magnussen, isn't it? But Magnussen always fights hard, but tricky in that car. Anyway, I'm waffling. Let's get back to it. Lap 22 of 58. Sergio Perez is just set the fastest lap in P10. So most of the pit stops are done now. Tsunoda and Stroll are still out there. I don't know how Yuki Tsunoda is still out there, but Verstappen's hunting him down now to retake the lead. But it is Tsunoda who leads on lap 22 from Verstappen, Stroll, Leclerc. And here comes George Russell on Carlos Sainz then for P5. So now they are head-to-head, Russell and Leclerc. Sainz is going long on the hard tyres. He might be a factor at the end of the race, but it is now Russell. Oh, Daniel Ricciardo makes a move on Bottas for 11th, and Hamilton is right there as well. So this is 11th, 12th and 13th. Oh, so Hamilton being told that he's quick. Despite the front wing damage, Hamilton has got the pace, it seems, as he's putting big pressure on the AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo of Ricciardo and Bottas. And Hamilton then goes for it side by side with his old teammate, Valtteri Bottas. But Bottas holds on for now. Right, Tsunoda pits from the lead. I love it. Tsunoda pits from the lead. Do you know what? I could get used to saying that. So, yeah, and Stroll's in as well then. So everybody's pitted now, pretty much, apart from maybe Sainz. They've been getting into Q3 2 times at least. Yeah, you know, they need the 4 points behind Alfa Romeo or Haas. But they're not on for any points at the moment. Down in 16th and 20th, are they? I don't think Alfa Romeo, Haas or Williams are getting any points today. Which means they'll stay where they are. It all depends on how many points Tsunoda can get, really. And then, obviously, Leclerc v. Russell and Sainz and Hamilton as well. It's going to be really down to the wire between Ferrari and Mercedes. It's really close. Really close. It's going to be by a point. It's going to literally be by a point or two. So Hamilton has now passed Bottas. Oh yeah, so Tsunoda now, having stopped, has got to work his way back through the field now. Come on, Yuki. I want to see Yuki top 6. I mean, it'd break Williams' hearts out, wouldn't it? If Tsunoda gets a top 6 here. To snatch P7 away from him. That'd be ruthless. So Sainz is in. Oh, Sainz is on a really weird strategy here then. Sainz goes from the hard tyre to the hard tyre. You have to run 2 compounds of tyre, so Sainz has to stop again per the regulations. So, what are they doing? Surely the whole point on Sainz starting on the hard tyre was to go long and do a 1-stop. Is that not the strat? It seems like a big L, that. You might as well have started on the mediums then and been half a second a lap quicker. I don't get it. Sainz starting on the hards and doing a 2-stop. Consider me confused. Maybe the tyres just went off a lot quicker than what they expected and they've just bottled it and they've just gone, yeah, you know what, this ain't the one. We're going to have to 2-stop it, Sainz. But here we go for a live look at the Constructors' Championship. So at the moment, Mercedes would be on 409, Ferrari 406. So it's in Mercedes' hands at the moment with Russell behind Leclerc. But it's Hamilton in P9 getting them 2 points that's winning it for Mercedes at the moment. That's winning this battle for P2, should I say. McLaren is solidifying P4 as well in Constructors here. 4th and 5th, Norris, Piastri. Heidegg and 3 stops for everyone, 2 stop for Sainz. No, I think everyone on a 2-stop. Everyone on a 2-stop. Everyone on a 2-stop. I thought it was going to be everyone on a 2-stop, Sainz on a 1, you know? But it's actually Sainz can't do it. So I think it's just everyone on a 2. I'd be surprised if 3. No, they'll do one more stop, won't they? Even like lap 40 or something like that. Well, maybe you might get 1 or 2 and think, right, let's stick a set of softs on for the last 10 laps, you know, and do a 3 maybe, you know. If you're well outside the points, you might do a kamikaze set of softs for the last 10 laps, you know. But I think we're looking at a 2-stop race, really. Yeah, 2 stops in it, Anto. 2 stops for me, Marley. So Verstappen leads Leclerc by 5.4 seconds. I'm looking at the gap then between Leclerc and Russell. That's the interesting one. 1.4 is the gap. And then the 2 McLarens. Piastri now being hunted down by Sergio Perez, who's coming up through the field. I think Perez started 9th, up to 6th at the moment, and going for... Maybe Perez can get on the podium by the end of this. Will Lewis have a go in for nose change? No, I think they'll just carry the damage at this point. I think maybe they should have taken the hit of switching the front wing at the first stop, but now I'd be surprised if they change the nose at the second stop, because he's got less time to make that time back. If that makes, he's got less laps to make that time back. So I think they'll carry on. I think they'll carry on with the damage on Lewis's car. As the team radio message comes through for Lewis, that is the fastest car on track. So maybe that's the key. Get the end fences hanging off the side, and go quicker. Plan Z, it's lemon scented. Yeah, so AlphaTauri swapped the drivers, obviously. Get Danny Rick out of the way. Sonoda's on the rate of his life. Perez hunting down Piastri for 5th, but Russell and Leclerc have come to a stalemate at a 2.5 seconds. Come on, George. Let's have a head-to-head. P2 in the race. P2 in constructors. Let's have a head-to-head. Sainz down to 16th after his second stop. Morning, salty dog, mate. It's an early start for you in Mississippi. Yeah, I bet it is. Yeah, but it's like 8 o'clock in the morning or something. But glad to be here. Yeah, cheers, man. Final race of the season. I've got a couple of streams I'm going to do during the next week or two. And then we go into hibernation mode until about Feb. So thank you for being here. I know you've not been able to make every single race, but I appreciate you being in the streams as and when you can be, mate. I appreciate all the viewers, because we've had to fumble our way through this season. I'll tell you what, it has to be better next year, doesn't it? It has to be better. The thing is, if I can get through the 2023 season and still have a good time and still have fun and still do the commentary and still enjoy it, I can get through anything. If I can enjoy the same driver winning 19 out of the 22 races, or what will it be, 20 out of the 23 races, do you know what I mean? If I can get through this and still have a good time and still have still enjoy it, I can get through any season. So bring it, anything on. Because this sounds so mad, but it can't get any worse than this. It sounds so... I kill myself. I really do. I don't do any fucking favours to promote the channel, do I? But it ain't going to get any worse than this season, is it? It can't. So it's only up, mate. It's only up from here next year. It's only up. Watch Verstappen win every single race next season, even Singapore. And I'm just there like, no, I shouldn't have said anything. Laps everybody, wins every single race. And I'm just like sat there round 23 this time next year going, oh, I shouldn't have said anything, man. He's won them all this time. Fuck. No, surely not. Please, touch wood, please. Let's have some competition next year. It's all right talking about the battle for second in constructors, but I don't want to be commentating on Abu Dhabi next year going, battle for second in constructors. I'll be talking about a championship battle, you know what I mean? Why is Magnussen so far behind? Your guess is as good as mine, mate. I think he's done an extra pit stop. I can only think he's just pitted again. But I've not been watching it closely. Love Singapore. Yeah, Singapore was good, especially the end where it was you had those 4 in a row fighting for the win, and Russell binned it on the final lap. That was I'm not saying this season's been horrendous as a whole, it has, but it's had great moments. It's had great moments this season. It has had special moments, but it's not been a season that I'll remember for anything other than Verstappen's dominance and McLaren's incredible mid-season upgrade probably as well. Piastri world champion next season. Listen, I'm here for it, Carl. Shake my hand right now. I'll do you a deal on that right now. I'll have it. I'll sign up for that right now. Who've I got to sell my soul to have that? Because do me a 2-for-1 deal, mate. I'll sell my soul and somebody else's to have it. Let's do it. Could you imagine McLaren building like a championship-worthy car and Piastri steps up and goes, all right, let's have a do. I've had my rookie year to bed myself in. Let's go for it. No. I feel like Lando deserves a car worthy to fight for the championship. I'd love to see Lewis get a car worthy to fight for one more championship. Do you know what I mean? As well, Leclerc as well deserves. But yeah, lap 31 of 58, Verstappen leads Leclerc by 6.7 seconds. Russell's dropped off that fight for P2 now. But with Hamilton P8, it will secure Mercedes second in constructors as it stands with, 26 laps to go. Halfway. Oh, we're more than halfway through it. Or maybe you said that a few minutes ago when we was halfway through. Although Brazil was quite good despite him winning. Yeah, Brazil, yeah, exactly. You know, Brazil at the end of the race as well was brilliant. The Perez, Perez versus Alonso at the end of that one. And then at the end of Vegas as well, Leclerc versus Perez? So the last lap in Brazil, last lap in Vegas, epic. Last few laps in Singapore, epic. This season's had its, every cloud. It's had silver linings. But I don't want a cloud next year. Yeah, this season's had its moments. Overall. I mean, what would you give this season out of 10? I'll give... Put it this way, the 2021 season is a 10 out of 10 season. I don't care. The controversial finish, whatever. It's fixed, it's this, it's that, he cheated, whatever you want, I don't care. 2021 is a 10 out of 10 season. And that's a fact. That's not even opinion, that's a fact. It'll never get better than 2021. That's the brutal reality. It would never get better than both drivers arriving at the final race of the season on 369.5 points each. And they go wheel to wheel on the final lap. It will never get as good as 2020. That's a 10 out of 10 season. 2022, what would you give that out of 10? That's like a 5 out of 10 season. It's 6. I would give last season probably like a 6 out of 10 season. It was above average. Ferrari were in the fight with Red Bull for like 2/3 of the season, and then it was like, we know the game here. So I give 2022 like a 6 out of 10. 2023, It's like, bro, on a real, if I'm being completely real, it's like a 2 out of 10 season, isn't it? So if I can have fun commentating and being live and doing a 2 out of 10 season, when we get a 7, 8, 9 out of 10 season, it's gonna be time to grow. Realistically, it's been a 2 out of 10 season, hasn't it? Really. Join me next year. Oh, mate. I have to be real though. I can't pretend. I can't pretend that it's been a phenomenal season. I have to be real, innit? 7.5 just for Max. Yeah, and a 2 for everyone else. I mean, you have to tip your cap in a way. Like you can't just say, "Oh, it's been a crap season." You have to say he's been unbelievable, unstoppable. I've never seen a season like it. Like even in Michael Schumacher's absolute prime, he was never this dominant. Nobody's ever been this dominant ever. You know, in like the Hamilton era between like 2014 and 2020. You know, people used to say, "Oh, Mercedes dominating." Listen, Lewis only used to win about 10 races out of 20. And that was dominating. That was dominating back in about 10 years ago. Oh, Lewis has won 10 out of 19 races. Oh, my God. Mate, that's absolutely nothing compared to this. Hamilton's prime doesn't even touch Verstappen prime, does it? He's absolutely wiped the floor with everybody every week. Every single week. Apart from Singapore where the car just didn't suit it and it was sliding all over the gaff. Anyway, the fact that I've been on a full waffle for the last 20 minutes tells you all you need to know about this race. Best race ever. Maybe not. The second pit stops are happening. We're on like 34 or 58. Yeah, so Norris has pitted and the Mercedes are going to have to react to that if they want a podium today. So is the strategy then medium, hard, hard? I think it is, isn't it? Let's have a look then. So George Russell pits from third. And yeah, so it's medium, hard, hard. They'll get to the end from there. It's a 2-stop race. 3.1 second pit stop, so decent. And he's going to come out, behind Tsunoda. It's all about where's Tsunoda going to end up here? About 8th. It's not going to be enough, is it? Oh, he is ahead, boy. It's close. Russell is ahead of Norris. But it's close. This lap will be critical, say Mercedes on the team radio. Yeah, he's got to warm up them tyres. Quick times. Lando Norris has already had a couple of laps on him. He'll be ready to attack. Leclerc being told to box them from P2. He drifted away on Verstappen. Verstappen's leading by about 10 seconds now. It's one of them. Some races, like in the US and some other races are really hard fought. Verstappen has a hard afternoon to win it, and to the casual fan or to people who don't really watch it, just well, Verstappen's won again, easy. It's only been easy about half the time. This is one of them where Verstappen's just cruising out front, cruising. It's one of them ones where there's no doubt. He had to fight off Leclerc in lap 1, and then he is just slippers on, feet up, pipe out. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Yeah, so Leclerc's pitted, come out just ahead of this battle. So that's net second, third, and fourth on the road. Oh, Stroll on an alternate strategy is putting himself in the mix here. P8 he is at the moment, but I don't think Stroll's going to get any points out of this when it all unfolds. But Norris needs to get past Stroll immediately to then attack George Russell for the last 20 laps. Is Stroll going to pit? No. Norris has got to get this job done on the road. Come on. Fastest lap. George Russell as Piastri pits and Alonso pits. How is this all going to iron itself out now? Sainz has gone through into P10. Alonso's going to come out 11th. Come on, Lando. Lando's got to overtake Lance Stroll here. Come on. Slipstream, DRS, VMAX, mode 11, down the inside. And Norris takes P6 off Stroll. And now has to hunt down George Russell for 5th. Here comes Lewis Hamilton then. On the back of Fernando Alonso, the two old veterans. And Hamilton takes P11. Alonso on an alternate strategy. Yeah, Hamilton, with his, since he's got the damage, has gone quicker. Work that one out. All the millions of pounds worth of investment that goes into the aerodynamic perfection of these cars. And a bit gets damaged and it goes quicker. That's an awkward one, isn't it? We've spent 18 million researching the aerodynamic efficiency of this front wing, and you snap a bit off and it goes quicker. Somebody's getting the sack tomorrow morning, mate. Oh, Alonso's back to his old complaining ways. Alonso's back to his old complaints. We are the slowest car on the straight by far. Such a contrast to the team radio's messages at the beginning of the season where Alonso was giving it full beans. It's descended, hasn't it, this season for Aston Martin? Descended big time. He has had a good season, though, yeah. What a great season for Alonso. Such an effective teammate to Stroll. The fact that Lance Stroll's still got a seat in this sport is criminal activity, mate. Yeah. Savage. When you've got likes of Teo Porcher in the wings, like Felipe Drugovich in the wings. Lance Stroll keeps his seat. It's all about who you know, innit? What the hell? This is extremely... He just brake tested me. Savage. Alonso brake testing Hamilton. Yeah, did you? Let's have a look at this. He did as well. As if Alonso brake tested Hamilton, mate. I can't believe it. I can believe it. He actually did as well. Like, it's not like, oh, of course he didn't. Do you know what I mean? I want to say, like, obviously not. But he actually did, bro. That's just... Why? Like, that's weird, isn't it? It's just dangerous. Like David Croft saying, like, will the stewards look at that? Like, you can't be doing that. You're playing games out there. Look at this then. Piastri, Sainz and Ocon, wheel to wheel. 8th, 9th, 10th. Racing hard. And Perez is up to 2nd, but he needs to stop again. I'm trying to figure out how this is all going to pan out. Yes, always. How we doing, bro? Welcome to the stream, mate. Lap 40 of 58. Driving erratically, mate. Lights off and away we go. This is it, aways. This is final race, mate. Away we go for the winter. Hibernation mode. Come back next March. Driving erratically, yeah. You can't be brake testing him. Alonso's a different breed, isn't he? I'm trying to figure out how all this is going to play out then. So Perez has got to pit again. So Perez is not really 2nd. You can add 20 seconds onto that. So it's Leclerc who's net 2nd, 2 seconds ahead of Russell. Then it's going to be, where's Tsunoda going to play out? Is Tsunoda genuinely 5th? This is the thing. Tsunoda only pitted once. Yeah, he has, yeah. Tsunoda and Stroll. Stroll needs to pit again. Tsunoda can go to the end if he wants. Well, he's not going to make it, though, on the tyres, but Tsunoda doesn't have to pit again. He's gone medium hard. Stroll has to pit again. He's gone hard. Oh, if I'm Tsunoda, do I just think, oh, let's just eat this one out for 16 laps? Yeah, Waze. That's it for 4 months. What should I do on the channel for 4 months, Waze? Football's non-stop, innit? But F1 has 4 months between one season to the next. So December, January, February, March might be a bit of a slow burner for the channel, you know what I mean? Now, I've got a couple of streams that I'm going to do this next week or two, like reviewing the season, like basically drawing a close to it all, ranking the drivers from worst to best based on the performances this season. Yeah, a couple of streams to come in the next week or two, and then we go cold and dark. Then it's hibernation, and we come back for hopefully a much better season, a much tighter season next season. Because it's been one-way traffic. Man United watchalongs, yeah. Motorsport Madman does football. I don't think so. You're going to go, yeah, I'm going to go over my predictions because that'll be a comedy. Yeah, I'm going to go over my pre-season predictions and have a look at that and think, what is he on about? Come on, Mercedes. Yeah, so I think it's going to be so close in constructors because Leclerc, when Perez pits, Leclerc's going to get 18 points. Russell's going to get, it's going to be literally a point in it. That's the problem. F1 got these breaks every couple of months. It's not consistent. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not like football where you can do like 3 streams in a day and then, football's never ending. You've got virtually football every day if you wanted to look for every different cup competition. You can stream 3 times a day. With F1, you once every 2 weeks. I've done a full season and only done about 40 live streams in a full year. Whereas someone who's doing football can do 40 live streams in a week if they want to do every match. I'm doing 40 streams a year. You know what I mean? 40 streams a year. Unless I start doing Tuesday afternoon, like F1 News Roundup. Difficult to find something that's entertaining to do during the gap between the races, though. You know what I mean? F1 quiz night, 1 million views. It's not going to be, is it? You know what I mean? But I'll try and think of something. I'll try and think of something exciting. But yeah, lap 43 of 58. Verstappen being told to pit. So Perez has pitted then. No, sorry. Yeah, so Perez has pitted and come out P6. Sonoda's up there P5 still. Yeah, that's the thing, exactly. It's a long season for the team. They're going over the world. Yeah, exactly. I can't ask for any more races. You know what I mean? I can't be like, no, I need more races. They're on the absolute limit of how many races they're doing. I mean, doing 23 races in 23 different countries around the world, it's more than enough. It's just what you do if you're trying to do a channel on it in between the races. But yeah, well, it is what it is. Yeah, playing F1, I know, but if I start doing gaming, it messes it up. I'd need another channel for gaming because it's like a completely different category. So then YouTube thinks you're a gaming channel and it takes you off the rankings for the watch-alongs. So that's why people have like a gaming channel so it doesn't fuck up their actual main channel. But I can't be doing a gaming channel when I got 400 subs. You know what I mean? Subscribe to my second channel. Because the first one's been a huge hit. You know what I mean? That's what you do when you got like 50k subs. You go, I'm doing a second channel. So the gaming's a weird one. It's good on one hand because it's like more content. But on the other hand, it's like, but it's actually affecting the main thing of the channel, which is obviously the watch-alongs. So it's a bit of a losing one, that. But yeah, the fact that I'm even waffling on about all this tells you everything you need to know about this race. It has not been one that will go down in the history books, I'm telling you that now. Bring on 2024, man. Bring on McLaren fighting for the championship next season. Bring on... Oh, look at this. As it stands then at the moment, Ferrari will take P2 in the championship by 2 points because Sainz is up to P8. It's all about Hamilton, how many points Hamilton and Sainz can get here. Because Sainz coming through the pack in P8 at the moment with like 15 laps to go. Yeah, that's another thing, exactly. So, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about gaming. I think it's a bit dead, really. Unless you're a gaming channel from day one and then that's what you do. But then imagine I did like 4 months of F1 gaming and then the first watch-along of next season, by that time YouTube would be fully in the mode that I'm a gaming channel, and then all of a sudden I'm doing a live watch-along. It just wouldn't be in the search results. It just wouldn't rank anywhere. And so then it'd be like starting again. So it's not easy. It's not an easy game, this YouTube gig. Especially when you're a tiny channel. It's not an easy game, man. It's not an easy game. When you're on square one, getting to square 2 and square 3 is so hard, man. Anyway, I'll just have fun with it. There isn't any other live motorsport on when F1 isn't. Well, that's the thing is, you've got IndyCar. I have considered following IndyCar more closely. That's going to clash a lot with F1. It's going to be in the middle of the night, and not a lot of people give a damn. So IndyCars might be a lot of effort for not a lot back. Then the other thing is do F2 as well, F2 and F1. So then on a Grand Prix weekend, instead of there being 2 or 3 streams, there'll then be like 6, 7, 8 streams on a weekend, which would be heavy duty, but worth considering. I don't think anybody else out there does F2 watch-alongs, so I'd be the only one. But there's probably a reason why no one does F2 watch-alongs, because no one cares. So it's difficult. I would like to do Le Mans, but I ain't about to do a 24-hour stream. I would like to do Rolex 24 at Daytona. Again, a great race, but I ain't about to do a 24-hour stream. I'd like to do Daytona 500, but I just don't know enough about it to give a good, it'd be embarrassing. Right, so Sainz, this is gonna be turning at every lap, because Sainz is P9 at the moment, which is getting Ferrari P2 in the championship, but has to pit again. But Barry, if you mean over the winter, there's virtually nothing. If you mean from November to March, there's virtually no motorsport between now and March. You've got the Daytona, the Rolex 24 at Daytona at the end of January. That's like the last weekend in January. But I can't do that because it's like 150 drivers in it. You know what I mean? I've heard of about 3. Oh, look at this. Perez and Norris come together in the chicane. And that's for position for P4. Oh, Perez was down the inside. Lando Norris just turns in on him. And here comes Hamilton. And the race has come back alive on lap 47 out of 58. It's Hamilton versus Sainz for 9th. And this is critical in the championship, in the Constructors' battle as well. We've got a few battles on track now. The 24-hour stream. Yeah, well, do it as a piss up. Do it as a Devcast. Le Mans 24-hour Devcast. No, I can't do it. Maybe F2, but I'll be... No, I think next season, to pad it out a bit, I'll start doing something on a Thursday, like a bit of a predictions thing. Maybe on Monday do like a Monday analysis. I'm gonna, to make more content, I'm gonna have to pad it out, so it's not just a watch along. You've got like a preview, a review. You know what I mean? Pad it out. So you start on the Thursday and go through to Tuesday. You know, instead of just the Sunday in the middle where it's the main event, do a video on the Thursday, a video on the Friday, a video on the Saturday, and then a bit of an afterburner. Do a video on the Monday and on the Tuesday, and then pad it out that way. I think it's probably the best shout, but we'll see. Look at this then. Perez versus Norris again. Perez trying round the outside. We've got 10 laps to go in the 2023 season. You'll fall asleep. Yeah, that would fall asleep live on here. That'd be a great advert, wouldn't it? The most exciting, thrilling race in the world. The greatest spectacle on 4 wheels. You know what I mean? 19 hours in to the Le Mans 24-hour. No, I couldn't do it, bro. Mercedes have currently got second in the championship by 2 points as it stands. Piastri down the inside of, is that Sonoda? Yeah, right. So Is Perez legit P4 then? Perez is P4. So it's Verstappen, Leclerc, Russell, Perez, Norris, Piastri, Tsunoda, Alonso, Hamilton, Sainz. Sainz has got to stop again. I think Mercedes are going to secure this P2, you know. Despite Leclerc beating Russell. 9 laps to go. Verstappen cruising out front. Perez under investigation. That could change everything. Alpine crew under investigation. And McLaren crew under investigation. But before the race ends, I just want to say, like, thank you for anyone that's joined me this season. Like, obviously, we know it's not been a phenomenal season, but I appreciate everybody that's watched through this. If we can get through this, we can get through anything. But I do appreciate you. Obviously, I hope that next year we can start to grow the subscribers a little bit. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it's only if the channel's just destined to be 50 subs, 100 subs a year, then it is. I can't. What can I do? I'm only me. It is what it is. Not everybody's going to blow up and be, go viral. Do you know what I mean? Not everybody can go viral. So, if it's 100 subs a year, I'll carry on. I'm not about to go, oh no, knock it on the head. I have fun with it. I'd miss it if I didn't do it. You know, I thought the other week, like, if I didn't do it, I'd miss it. If I was just back to just switch it on and sit back and say nothing and do nothing, I'd miss it. I'd be like, oh, I wish I was live. So I'd do it anyway. You know what I mean? You know. So just keep paddling, don't you? Just keep plodding away. And if something happens, it happens. If it doesn't, never give up, innit? So I'll be back. I don't know what to do with the stream, whether I do like a studio setting rather than having all this, the graphic, the GPS and the live timings. I might bin all that off and just simplify it and just basically me full screen with sort of like a studio vibe. Maybe we go down that road, which is how I started this season, weirdly enough. And then it sort of evolved into this, where I'm thinking, do you want the information? I don't know. But, yeah, I think we'll change it up. But yeah, we'll see. Oh, Perez has a 5-second penalty, which will promote up the McLarens, potentially. Yeah, Perez 5-second. Wear my goggles. What goggles? I ain't got no goggles. Yeah, like the graphics on screen. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But it's like a balance. Like the people that do watch. I'm not saying there's a lot. The people that do watch, are they watching it for my reaction, or are they watching it for the information, or is it a combination of both? You know what I mean? How do I think about that? Probably a bit of a balance, isn't it? Russell Team Radio. Oh, right. So Russell being told then. So Perez is coming up behind Russell. Oh, this is so good. This is on a knife edge between Ferrari and Mercedes. So if Perez gets past Russell, Russell's got to keep Perez within 5 seconds of him to secure P2 in the championship. Critical that Russell keeps Perez within his reach. I think it puts Norris above Leclerc in the championship. Yeah, the drivers' championship positions I'm not as bothered about. Because the team's championship is where all the money is, I suppose. So finishing 4th, 5th, 6th in the drivers' championship doesn't really matter. But finishing 4th, 5th, 6th constructors is massive. So I'm more watching that. Where's Yuki Tsunoda then? So Haas aren't going to do anything, are they? Haas aren't scoring any points. So Haas are going to end up 10th in the championship. Peak on 12 points. Alfa Romeo are going to end up P9 in Constructors on 16 points. It's been a dreadful year for them, hasn't it? And it'll be the last race under the Alfa Romeo banner as well. They're going back to just being Sauber for the next couple of years before Audi comes in. So, Alfa Romeo departing with a bit of a damp squib. P9 they'll finish. Now, AlphaTauri are currently 8th on 21 points. Tsunoda's looking to get a handful of points, but it might not be enough to beat Williams. I think Tsunoda's going to get potentially P7 if he can get to the end, but he's getting under pressure from Alonso now. So, it's not going to be enough. AlphaTauri are going to finish 8th in Constructors' Championship. They might get a couple more points, but they're going to finish 8th. Williams are going to finish 7th in Constructors' Championship on 28 points. They've done well, Williams. Alexander Albon's done very well, considering the car that they've had. To get 28 points... I think Sargent's got a point, Albon the other 27. I think it's like that. Albon's driven a great season. Got Williams to 7th in Constructors. 6th is then Alpine. I don't know how many points they've got. I've not written it down. But Alpine in no man's land. P6 in the championship. Not great from them. Not great from them. They were 4th last year. And they were hoping to close the gap to the top 3. You know, Alpine were hoping to fight for top 3 in Constructors this year. They've actually gone backwards a lot. There'd be a lot of head scratching going on at Alpine, but they've got a lot of investment. All these celebrities jumping in. I can't even begin to name them, but there's a list of about 7 or 8 celebrities that have jumped into that team with investment. So, surely Alpine are going to improve next year. So Alpine P6. Aston Martin P5. They're going to be in Constructors' Championship. After such a phenomenal start to the season from Aston Martin, it'll be a disappointment for them to end up 5th in Constructors' Championship. I said at the beginning of the stream, they started off the season fighting for wins. They've ended up the season fighting for the odd point. So, Aston Martin up from 6th last year, so it is an improvement, but, really they should have been getting 3rd or 4th in Constructors this season. Then McLaren P4 after a massive resurgence. They started off the season so poorly, did McLaren. At the back, one of the slowest cars. It was a shambles. They were doing loads of pit stops because the car was overheating, I think, at the beginning of the season. But they put some major upgrade on it midway through the season around the British Grand Prix, Austrian Grand Prix. Since then, they've been bagging podiums nearly every week and have secured P4 in the championship. But now, this is what we're talking about. Ferrari, 388 points. Mercedes, 392 points. We're into the last 3 laps of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and it's all to play for 2nd in the Constructors' Championship. George Russell has to keep within 5 seconds of Sergio Perez here in the last 3 laps to secure 2nd place. Lap 55 of 58. Oh, cheers, Sean. Appreciate what you do. Wishing you loads more views, subs. I appreciate you, bro. It's good setup. Your commentary is great too. I appreciate you, bro. Obviously, positive feedback is massively appreciated. Any feedback, I've had people drop comments in the end saying, you don't know what you're on about. But listen, you've got to take the rough with the smooth. Not everyone's going to agree with what I'm saying. And I'm willing to have a debate with anyone who says, oh, you bias this, you don't look at that, you miss that. I'm willing to talk to anybody and say, well, actually, let's have a chat about it. I didn't mention this because this and this, or I cheered for him because I like competition and I don't want to back the guy that's winning every week. But, No, I appreciate you. And, like I say, there'll be a few streams in the next week or 2. And then it'll probably go cold and dark for a couple of months. We'll be back bigger, better, stronger in February. Once the cars start getting unveiled. Ooh, It's game on, innit? Once you get to like the end of February and the cars start getting unveiled, it's like, right, here we go, game on. Game on. We recharge our batteries and we'll go again. You can't say it. You can't, if you're home watching it, hit the like button, subscribe. Yeah, do you know what? I need to start saying, like, every 20 minutes, I need to drop me a like. You know what I mean? Need to get in the habit of that. But yeah, do drop me a like if you are enjoying the stream. Obviously, today it's not been full commentary mode. It's the race has not been one that's going to be talked about for years and years, is it? So just been able to have a chat. Yeah, Russell had fastest lap at one point. I hope he can keep it. He's got to keep the gap within 5 seconds. The gap at the moment is 2 seconds. My God. Perez is pulling out on Russell. And the thing is, so Sainz is having to pit. This is so finely balanced. Sainz isn't going to get any points. Oh, Tsunoda's... Okay, Alonso's passed Tsunoda for 7th. So that's Williams secured in P7. AlphaTauri, despite Tsunoda's great drive today, will remain P8 in Constructors' Championship. That's Williams secured. Alonso passes Tsunoda, who's driven a great race, to be fair. And... So it's such on a knife edge here. Sainz isn't going to get any points out of it. Does that change the situation between Perez and Russell, though? Leclerc's going to get 18 points out of this. Whoa! Leclerc playing 4D chess out here. He'll help Perez out. Leclerc saying he'll help Perez out to hinder Russell. Wow, this is 4D chess going on here. Leclerc is saying on team radio he'll drop back, help Perez get the slipstream to hinder. So the gap is bigger than 5 seconds between Perez and Russell. It sounds complicated. It's not that complicated. It is clever. It is clever. Oh my God, when you've got millions and millions on the line, mate, you got to do what you've got to do. They say it for you. Yeah, no, cheers. Cheers, Ernesto, bro. You've been a mod since day one, innit? I appreciate you. This is the final lap. Oh, it could be as critical. It could be as critical as if Hamilton passes Tsunoda on the final lap. That could secure it. Oh, this is so close. It is going down to the final lap, but it's enough. I think Russell is close enough. Oh, Verstappen has broken records this season that will never be beaten. Verstappen concludes the most dominant season in history and wins in Abu Dhabi. An incredible season. It's been unbelievable for Max Verstappen this season. A season that he'll probably never replicate or anybody will ever replicate. Unbelievable. He's won it by 16.5 seconds over Sergio Perez. I think Mercedes are going to get second in Constructors' Championship with Russell 4th and Hamilton 9th. We're going to wait for confirmation of this because Perez has got a 5-second penalty. So Perez will drop back. Leclerc will get P2 on the road. It depends the gap between Perez and Russell. Russell's within 3.8 of Perez. So I think, oh my goodness. Wow, and Hamilton tried it on Tsunoda on the final lap. Ended up running wide and Tsunoda got the position back, but Lewis went balls to the wall there on the final lap. Woo! And just went too fast into the corner. Massive slap of oversteer. And Tsunoda got the position back, yeah, but Russell was 3.8 seconds behind. Long story short, Mercedes have secured second in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes take second place by 3 points in the end. Thank you, everybody, for joining me this season. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Please do drop me a like on your way out. Like I say, there'll be 3 or 4 streams over the next week or two where we sort of conclude the season, do a bit of a season review, you know, have a look at my pre-season predictions and have a good laugh. Rank the drivers based on the performance this season. Yeah, so there'll be a few streams coming, but that is it as far as watch-alongs go for the 2023 season. I hope you have enjoyed the season. It can only get better. Can only get better. No, but, you know, I don't want to make it sound like I'm shitting on Verstappen because he's been unbelievable. You know, you can't take anything away from Verstappen this season. He's been unstoppable. Really. Yeah, this RB19 and Max Verstappen, name a better duo. There isn't one. There isn't. In the history of mankind, has there ever been a better duo than Max Verstappen and the Red Bull RB19? No. Unbelievable. And there he is then. Verstappen does donuts on the start-finish straight. Three-time world champion Max Verstappen. Now we need a Robcast. No, not a chance tonight. After last night. Leclerc finishes second. Russell ends up third after the 5-second penalty for Perez. Perez will end up P4, Norris P5, Piastri P6, Alonso P7, Tsunoda P8 in the end, Hamilton P9, and Stroll got a point into P10. Just 3 races that he hasn't won. Unbelievable. So Verstappen won every single race bar Saudi Arabia, Azerbaijan, and Singapore. That's right, isn't it? He won because that's unbelievable. Because Imola got cancelled. It's unbelievable. He's won all but 3. He only didn't win in Saudi Arabia, Azerbaijan, and Singapore. Unbelievable. Alonso finishes 4th in the championship. So that's how the Drivers' Championships ended then. Verstappen 575 points. Perez in second, 285. So he's only been beaten by 290 point gap. Unbelievable. Then Hamilton third in the championship on 234. Then Alonso, I needed to pause that. And that's the Constructors' Championship then, yeah. Haas last, then Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri, Williams, Alpine, Aston Martin, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull 860 points. Red Bull 860 points. Mercedes in second, 409. I think Verstappen would have won this Constructors' Championship on his own. Stream for when Williams replaced Sargent. Williams aren't replacing Sargent, so that stream won't exist. No, I think Williams are keeping Sargent, really. I don't think see any drivers change. I don't. This is it. What the grid is now is the grid next year. I think I'm right in saying that, really. Zhou's confirmed. I don't think they've officially confirmed Perez, but, you know, it'd be Perez in the Red Bull. Tsunoda and Ricciardo next season. Yeah, that's it. That's the next year's grid. It's not really been a lot of change. It's only been the Nick De Vries thing being sacked mid-season, putting Danny Rick in, and then Danny Rick getting injured, Liam Lawson coming in. That's the only bit of driver sort of gossip we've had, really. Everyone else is either signed up for the long term or, you know, maybe see some moves come the end of next season. Oh, I might stay on for a bit. End of the season, innit? Not in any rush. Oh, Russell's not been well. Fair play then. To get a podium when you're not feeling very well. Results. Yeah, so ridiculous. 2023 race results. Bahrain, Verstappen. Saudi Arabia, Perez. Australia, Verstappen. Azerbaijan, Perez. So they won 2 each. I was thinking, this is Perez's year that he fights for the championship. After 4 races, they'd won 2 each, Verstappen and Perez. And then Miami, Verstappen, Monaco, Verstappen, Spain, Verstappen, Canada, Verstappen, Austria, Verstappen, Great Britain, Verstappen, Hungary, Verstappen, Belgium, Verstappen, Netherlands, Verstappen, Italy, Verstappen. That was the run he went on. He won the next, I think, 11 in a row. Then we get to Singapore. Carlos Sainz wins for Ferrari. And then we get back on the train again. Japan, Verstappen. Qatar, Verstappen. United States, Verstappen. Mexico, Verstappen. Brazil, Verstappen. Vegas, Verstappen. Abu Dhabi, Verstappen. The 2023 Verstappen World Championship. Unbelievable. Even in, like I said before, even in Schumacher's most dominant Ferrari days in like 2002, I think he was on the podium every race, but he didn't win as many races as this. When you read it out like that, you just realise how crazy it's been in terms of one-way traffic. You know, in Hamilton's most dominant season, he's only winning about half the races. You know, he's only winning 10, 11 races out of the 20. Even in his most dominant couple of years, you know. I do actually, Carl. Yeah, I do. Not anytime soon, but I think once he gets into his 30s, um, I think he will. Yeah, I could see Verstappen trying to sort of become like an undisputed. This sounds so corny, but become like an undisputed GOAT, which sounds cringe to say, but I can see him going down that road of trying to become like this undisputed greatest driver of all time, where it's not just Formula One World Championships and wins, it's Le Mans. It's endurance racing wins as well, which Alonso's got under his belt. Alonso's got a few wins in other categories under his belt, but I feel like Verstappen's going to take that to the next level, and it's going to be like, okay, Verstappen, 100 Grand Prix wins or whatever he's going to end up with, 150 at this rate, and Le Mans victories in this year, and he wins this series in this year, and I think it's going to end up where it's going to be an all-round thing. Just interviewing Verstappen now. Are you going to have another season like this? You better bloody not. I mean, massive respect to him, but the sport needs it to be a lot closer next year. I actually think, genuinely, if it's similar next year as it is this year, I think that'll be damaging. It will actually be damaging to the sport if we get another year next year that mirrors this. For all the promotion and all the hype and the millions that are pumped into it, and all these new races in the Middle East and all the new races in the US, at the end of the day, the product's got to match that. And the harsh truth is, the product has not matched that this season. But you can get away with it for a year. You can get away with it. All right, we put all these millions into these new venues. It's not quite been the season we dreamt of. But you can weather it for a year and go, well, let's just sweep this one aside and go again. But if we start getting 2 or 3 years like this in a row, it's going to be, you can't have that. Oh, yeah, Teo Porcher won F2, yeah. Yeah, I sort of regret that, because I wish I'd have followed that season a lot closer. I've only seen 3 or 4 F2 races this season. I've barely seen any F2 at all. And that's shameful, really. I should follow that, because I enjoy F2. In fact, I'm going to focus that on more on that next year, definitely. I'm going to watch a lot more F2 next year. Whether I stream it, whether I do watch-alongs on it, I don't know. But I'm going to watch a lot more, because I've really neglected F2 this season. I've barely seen any of it. And it's good, because it helps you really sort of get an idea of who's coming through the ranks, who's the next exciting name. That's all part of it. Who's the next kid coming in? Like Piastri come massive hype. He's living up to it. Who's the next one and the next one? I should really watch F3. Who's the next one coming through? Gabriele Limini. Who's the next guy? Yeah, so I'm going to focus more on F2 next season. Watch a lot more of it. It's all shown 90% of the time F1 fucking bores me. It's all money. The one who spends the most wins, but it certainly helps. Probably Ferrari spend the most, though, and they don't necessarily win, but I get what you mean, yeah. It's like that with football, though, isn't it? Spend the most, you win. But, yeah, it has to live up to it more next season, because I feel like it's a weird... F1's in this weird place at the moment where it's growing astronomically, especially like in the US and in the Middle East and stuff. Like, it's in this thing where it's sort of booming, it's expanding, but the product's not really living up to it. So it's like all this promotion and all this hype and all this buzz, but we've had a 2 out of 10 season. So it's like, ooh, it's a little bit awkward. it needs to live up to it much more next year, or else this new American audience are going to look at it and go, well, it might be the best drivers in the world and the best cars in the world, but it's predictable. It's the same guy winning every week. They're going to switch it off again. They're going to watch it for a year or two because the Netflix series got them into it, and then think, well, actually, maybe a casual fan might start thinking, well, the Netflix series is actually the only thing I enjoy about it, because in reality, it's dead. We can't have that where there's a lot of fluff around it, but the actual reality of it is it's actually dead. You can't have that. You can get, like I said, you can get away with it for this season. We get away with it. It's been dead, but we get away with it for a year. But it has to be better next year. It has to be. Or else it starts, this astronomical growth that it's got at the moment won't be so astronomical if we get another season that mirrors this season. Whoever spends the most on developing the cars spends the money. That doesn't mean it. Yeah, it's been Red Bull 3-4 years, Mercedes 3-4 years, then back to Red Bull. Yeah, Ferrari haven't won a championship since 2007. Yeah, how mad is that? Kimi Raikkonen was the last champion that wasn't driving for Mercedes or Red Bull, isn't it? And Lewis Hamilton hasn't won a race for 2 years, 2 seasons in a row that Hamilton hasn't won a race. And I only mentioned that. It's like, well, so what? But for the previous 16 years, he won a race in every single season. He's now had 2 seasons in a row where he hasn't won a race. That'll hurt, that. That'll hurt. Mercedes have to bounce back next season, don't they? If Mercedes don't bounce back next season, Lewis will, I think Lewis will lose a lot of motivation, to be honest. I think it's a big year for Hamilton next season. He has to be back in the fight, or else his career's just going to fade away, innit? And Lewis Hamilton's career shouldn't just fade away until he retires. I hope he has one more. You know what I mean? It sounds like a Hollywood movie, but I hope he has one more charge for glory. Do you know what I mean? I hope Lewis gets one more chance, even if he doesn't win it, but to be in a fight one more time. That he needs that. The sport needs that. Even if Lewis doesn't win it at the end, just to be in with a chance again one more time. If he just doesn't win a race next year and then fades away and doesn't win a race a year after that, it's not fair. Kimi was funny. Does anyone want to race at his age? That's a good question. They will have been sure, like Nigel Mansell, Damon Hill were getting on a bit, weren't they, when they were winning championships? Yeah. Hey, Kimi Raikkonen won the US Grand Prix 2018. How old was he then? About 39. So, yeah. I mean, is he going to beat a 25-year-old in his prime who's proving that he's the best driver in the world by a country mile? Ooh. I'd love to see Verstappen under pressure next season, though, because he's cruised it. I'd love to see him under pressure where, even if he wins it next season, it has to be with pressure. and stress. You know what I mean? There has to be some stress about it. I feel like he's had a stress-free season. That's not good, that is it? You know what I mean? Stress-free one. I want to see a WEC race in Brazil, South America, and Australia. They do WEC at Sao Paulo, don't they? I'm sure they do, mate. I'm sure they do World Endurance Championship at Sao Paulo. Don't they do 6 hours at Sao Paulo, 8 hours at Sao Paulo? Sure they do. Maybe if it wasn't this season, the season before. Sure they do. Australia, yeah, no, they don't do it Australia. 24 hours Silverstone be dope. What, in WEC? You're really into WEC, aren't you? I've never got into it properly. I watched Le Mans. But I don't really like when the other week it was Bahrain, wasn't it? Like 6 hours of Bahrain or 8 hours of Bahrain. I couldn't imagine whacking that on and watching all of that. Would you sit there, Swade, and watch like 8 hours of Bahrain? How can you watch that but then call this boring? This is like a thrilling sprint race compared to that. I couldn't sit and watch like 8 hours of Bahrain. At least the competition's closer though, isn't it? You know, I can't knock it for that. At least the competition. But there you go then. Pre-season testing, 21st to 23rd of February. That's when I'll be back. And the Bahrain Grand Prix. I think because of Ramadan, the first 2 races of next season are on a Saturday afternoon. Yeah. So I think Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, the first 2 next season, will be on a Saturday afternoon. But, you know, so. Yeah. Gives me a reason to drink and eat for 24 hours. Absolutely. Oh, fair play, man. Fair play. The NFL last hours as well. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's stop-start that. I've never been able to get into that. Jesus. Get about 3 seconds. This 2 stop-start. Right. I think that's about it, innit? We stayed on a little bit after because it's the end of the season. Because usually it's just like, right, Verstappen's won, see you next time, you know. But I thought, I'd stay on, chill out for 20 minutes, innit? Have a little bit of a chat. But yeah, that's it for 2023. The second full season on the channel as well. I did all last season. And all this is, so we've done 2 full seasons. I'll be back. Like I say, be a few streams in coming weeks, and then probably go a bit quiet until what was winter testing, February the 21st. Yeah, I'll be on it. We'll be on it actually from the launches, when they start doing the launches online, mate. Then the hype's on from there. So that's it. The Verstappen season comes to an end. Verstappen wins 19 of the 22 races held. "19 out of the 22 races is won. Unbelievable. It's just how F1 is these days. I know. Do you know what? There was somebody on Twitter who watched back-to-back, it must have taken him months, who watched back-to-back every single race from about the beginning of the 1970s all the way through to now. They'd watched every race from like the 1972 South African Grand Prix. Like, we're way back. They've watched every race of every season until now. And he said, and then he did a little paragraph of, right, this is what I take from it. And do you know what it was? It wasn't that, there's this golden era and modern day's crap, or modern day's really good and this era was rubbish. He says what it is the reality of this sport is that you get dull seasons in a row. You might get 3 or 4 dull seasons in a row and then a banger. An absolute banger. Bang. What a mint season. And then you might get another 2 or 3 dull seasons in a row and then a banger. There is no... What he took away from it, after watching 60 years of Grand Prix racing, there is no golden era of Formula One. There is no golden era. Because in Senna and Prost day, I bet there was races. You think, oh, Senna and Prost day, yeah, F1 was amazing. No, it wasn't, bro. McLaren won 17 out of 18 races and 15 out of 16 races. Mate, I bet there was some seasons there in the 80s where everything, oh, it was amazing. I bet it was dead. All there is every now and then you'll get a banger of a season. You get 2 bangers of a season together. Amazing. You know, in my opinion, like, my sort of best period of watching this sport was from, like, 07 to, like, 13. 07 to 13 was really good. Like, I know I've just said there is no golden era, but that was pretty good. 07 to 13... Back at the second half of 13 was Vettel. But, all right, let's go from the beginning of 07 to halfway through 2013. Right? That was pretty good. 09 was good in a way. Like, I'm not a Jenson Button fan, but the whole Brawn GP thing was epic. 2010, we had like 3 new teams. Schumacher was back. A championship battle with 5 of them in with a chance at the final round. And 2011, I think, was a bit dead, but then 2012 was amazing. 2012, we had 7 different winners from the first 7 races. Toto giving a bit of a speech that Mercedes are going to come back next season. I hope they do. But yeah, for me, 07 to 13 was unbelievable. Then it went the hybrid. Once the V6 hybrids come in, the sport did change there. And since then it's sort of been like 2 or 3 dead seasons and a great one. 2 or 3 dead seasons, a great one. Now we've had 2 or 3 dead seasons. Let's have a great one in 2024. You can watch someone die in a race. Well, yeah. Is that a good thing, though? Is that a reason to... Is that a positive? Not really, is it? Well, definitely not. But yeah, they do have balls of steel here, yeah. But I bet some of them races... Because everyone looks back with rose-tinted glasses, but I bet there was some boring stuff, you know. Anyway... First goal, that is a thing, actually, Barry. You are right on that. There always used to be, even when I first started watching, like 05, 06, 07, there'd always be a crash at turn 1. These days, it's rare. Yeah, it only happens like twice a season where you'll have a big crash at turn 1. 2 or 3 times a year. It used to be every race. There'd be a pile-up. Maybe the drivers are a bit more like, right, come on, this is 60 laps. We don't need to... It's not all done in turn 1. Let's have a chill pill here. Right, anyway, I'm going. We've done it. We've done the season. We've got through it. Thank you for everyone for joining. Please do drop me a like on your way out as well. But yeah. Oh, it's been... Oh, God. No, it's been fun. If I can have fun this year, it's only up from here. But yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back in a couple of days. There'll be a couple, like I say, there'll be 3 or 4 streams to round off the season. Bit of a review, so forth. And then it'll be pre-season testing before we know it. Get Christmas out of the way. Get January out of the way. And then we're back for 2024. Please do join me next season. Subscribe if you're into Formula One. And please do drop me a like on your way out as well. I appreciate every single one of the viewers. And hopefully next year we come back with a bang. And it's a great, you know, if it's a great channel, a great season that we watch, no doubt that will spark the channel into life a little bit, and we'll start to grow. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining me. We've done 2 full seasons on Motorsport Madman. We'll be back for season 3 next year. Peace out. Thank you everyone that's been in chat today. Anthony, Barry, Swade, Carl, who else has been in? Ernesto, Salty Dog, answer to say that Adam McCrutcher, thank you for coming in. Sean Willis has been here. Aways even popped in. Mitch Chapman, Anthony, Danny Figueroa, Carl Lover 21, even he was in. I missed his comment as well, and he was a new viewer. I think I should have paid more attention, but yeah, hi. That was about an hour ago. Yeah, hi mate. But yeah, Farhan popped in as well. But yeah, cheers everyone, and I will be back very soon to conclude this season. Peace out guys, thank you very much. That was 2023.